Hey everyone, I want to start off this video by saying that I'm really sorry that the video quality may look bad for some people. Sadly, the footage was all recorded at 480p and I couldn't figure out the reason why, and I couldn't find a fix. For the most part, it's just background footage anyway, but regardless, I hope you all enjoy the video. I spent a lot of time working on it. Here is why I think Super Mario Galaxy 2 is one of the best Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a 3D platformer created by Nintendo for their console, the Nintendo Wii, released in 2010. This game is a 3D platformer with many 2D elements and sections, something that was not in the original Super Mario Galaxy release for the Nintendo Wii back in 2007, which actually only had the 3D elements. Don't take it from me though, calling it one of the best platformers is not hyperbole. This game won the Best Wii Game Award in 2010 and was nominated for a bunch more different awards. But let's be honest, no one listens to the intro, so let's get into the first section. Mario Galaxy 1 was definitely a strong title on the Nintendo Wii, but it was never anything super exceptional apart from just being a new idea, a massive scale 3D Mario game. Sure, a 3D Mario game had been done before with Super Mario 64, but there had not been a Mario game of this scale before the original Mario Galaxy, and that's really what I want to focus on. Super Mario Galaxy 2 has a massive sense of scale, the areas you'll find yourself in as Mario, the different enemies you'll be fighting, and even the boss fights have this mass that no other Mario game has done before. You'll be on this huge planet solving a puzzle, and then you'll move onto a boss straight from Shadow of the Colossus, then you'll be moving back onto another massive spaceship flying on fucking Ho-Oh, dodging explosions. The player is never going to be the biggest thing on screen, yet Mario will always be the main focus of the camera, which is why this sense of scale works so well in this game, because the player never loses focus on Mario and will never be losing him in all of the chaos of the level. If you take the still frame of the Shiver Ice level, then you can see Mario himself only occupies 1/94th of the screen if the game is completely zoomed out in this FOV. Compared to the first game, the scale of the Mario Galaxy franchise has definitely been increased, and not in just an artistic way. As someone who has 100% cleared both the original game getting all 242 stars, and the sequel also getting all 242 stars, I can tell you that the amount of gameplay there is in general is just drastically increased. This is mainly because there are only 121 stars in the original Mario Galaxy, but you have to get all 121 stars on both Mario and Luigi, compared to the 242 stars in Mario Galaxy 2, which are all for the most part unique and different. And while I'm here talking about Mario Galaxy 1, I want to talk about how much some of the gameplay mechanics have been improved for its successor. So let's talk about green stars. In the original Galaxy game, the green star mechanic was simple. Throughout the course of the game, the player could get 3 different optional green stars, and once they collected all 3, they would be given a new set of levels to explore, some considering these to be the hardest levels in the game. Personally, I only think they're difficult because of this bullshit fucking surfing mechanic with the fucking motion controls that are so goddamn annoying. I was so happy when I found out it was no Mario Galaxy 2, then I got to the stupid Ho-Oh flying levels, which is the reskin version of the surfing levels, which is the worst thing ever. Sorry about that. Anyway, the green star mechanic was changed a lot for Mario Galaxy 2. Instead of 3 hidden green stars, Mario would have to go through every level and collect every star in the entire game up to World S. Once he had collected all 120 normal stars in the game, he would then be told by everyone's favourite side character Lubba about green stars, and suddenly, the whole universe has green stars, with every galaxy having at least one new star for Mario to collect. These stars differ a lot from the main stars because they're scattered throughout the levels like Easter eggs. with some being at the very beginning and some at the very end. This does create a long grind for the player, but I do think this is a really positive change because of the fact that 100% in this game feels so much more rewarding now. Especially since after all the turmoil for the green stars, the game culminates in one of the hardest levels in any base Mario game ever, something out of a Kaizo game. In the original Mario Galaxy, the final level, the reward for all the players' patience and determination was a small reskin of the very first level that can't even be called a platformer because there aren't any challenges or difficulties, you just have to walk to the end collecting purple coins. But my god did Nintendo improve this for the sequel. Instead of this extremely passive final level, you have this new planet of 6 different incredibly hard sections putting everything you have learned playing the game into a test. A Yoshi section, a pressure pad section, an extremely intense cloud section, a flip pad section which could be argued to be the hardest section of not only this entire game, but the hardest section of any 3D Mario game, a bubble laser section, and finally a rotating pad section, all while being pelted with hammers by Hammer Bros before having to take down 3 Boomerang Bros just to let you beat this level. It's tough. Really tough. But this is the ultimate test. Once you have collected the Comet Medal, you'll get a Prankster Comet on the Grandmaster Galaxy. Which, well, I lied about the ultimate test being the hardest level in the entire game. Because this Prankster Comet is the perfect run. The same level, the same sections, with 2 very big changes. No checkpoints and 1 health the entire level. You cannot get hit ever, or it's back to the beginning. I have beaten this level 3 times, only ever 3, because it is just that tough and will wear you down. Getting so close to the end and dying hurts, but once you've finished it, it will result in one of the best feelings ever. And this is why, to me, Mario Galaxy 2 is better than Mario Galaxy 1. Small disclaimer before I begin, I am not a music aficionado and I personally have never properly studied music, so this section is almost completely reliant on my opinion and thoughts instead of looking at the technical aspect of music. Video game soundtracks are hard to make. Like films, the music can completely change your opinion on a media piece. Take Guardians of the Galaxy for example. I think it's fair to say that the film itself would not be as memorable as it is or as good as it is without that sublime soundtrack. It is the same for a game. Whether or not you have played the Mario Galaxy games or not, I think most people know of its orchestral soundtrack with one of the most recognizable songs in video gaming history, the Gusty Gardens theme. Calling it one of the best soundtracks may be a very heated opinion, considering the games it would have to go up against with the likes of Cuphead, Pokemon Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, Persona or even RuneScape, which all have some amazing standalone soundtracks. But what makes Mario Galaxy special is its orchestral soundtrack, something that is rare for a video game. This original soundtrack was created by the ever so amazing Koji Kondo, who has done most main series Mario games, even including the brand new 8-bit songs for Super Mario Maker 2.
There's new music too, written by veteran Super Mario composer Koji Kondo. Who else?
This man gives a verification badge to every Mario game, even the ones that break formula. You can hear him say, "Yeah, this is a real Mario game guys, I promise." And man did he deliver on this game. Every single note in every song hits with emphasis. The bosses, the mini-games, even the normal levels all have music that is just as recognizable as the last piece. What works so well is the fact that the music itself does not overpower the gameplay of any level, but will only amplify the player's experience, making it much more enjoyable. Not to mention it works really well for videos such as this one, and that's why the music for most of this video is actually the Mario Galaxy 2 soundtrack itself. I already mentioned the Gusty Gardens theme being one of the best and most recognizable songs in all of video games, but it would be a disservice not to mention some of the other memorable pieces, with the music from the Gobblegut boss fight, or a remix of a certain beloved Mario song. Gameplay is hard to quantify and review. Google defines it as the features of a video game, such as its plot and the way it is played, as distinct from the graphics and sound effects, meaning that almost anything is fair game for me to talk about and review here. So let's start with the level design. Most galaxies in this game have some sort of uniqueness to them, whether it be the supermassive enemies that make Mario feel even more significant than he already is, or a massive slide minigame that is just as much fun as it is frustrating, or even a throwback to another 3D Mario game with one of the best revamps of a stage from a previous Mario game. One of the best parts to every level is the fact that the player can make his own path for the most part. There are so many levels in which a player can just choose which way they make it to the end or to the next warp star depending on their skill level. Take the Flipsville first level for example. The player can take the intended path going through all the different sections of the level, or if the player wanted to cheese the game a little bit and try to complete the level as fast as possible, they have the ability to. Something that isn't very possible in the 2D Mario games because of the limited screen space and control system. While in Galaxy, the 3D level design allows for these multiple pathways that end up in the same area. Another aspect of Mario Galaxy 2's level design is the fact that it uses as much of the level as it can, squeezing out as much gameplay as possible. There are many different examples of this in this game, but my personal favourite has to be Hightail Falls. To start off with, this is the first level to introduce the jalapeno-esque mechanic, the Dash Pepper, which is practically a turbo boost for Yoshi. This unlocks a whole new style of level for the game, a vertical level. What makes this level so great is the progression the player has to go through as they are playing the level. The first section introduces the mechanic and keeps the player relatively safe. This then steps up a little bit in the second section with the falling blocks. And finally, the level completes with an extremely difficult wall riding section with Yoshi and the Dash Pepper once again, where you have to race to get the star. As a standalone star, it's extremely fun and well designed, but the reason I love this Galaxy so much is because of its Comet Star, which takes this beautiful, serene level and just completely destroys it. Turns it into this apocalyptic area that Mario needs to get out of as soon as possible. This really shows the uniqueness of all the different galaxies. And while I'm here talking about level design and specifically the Hightail Falls level, can we just appreciate how beautiful this level is? Something about the wood with the waterfall background, it just looks so pretty. But I cannot mention the beauty of some levels without talking about Slimy Spring. Without a doubt, this is the best level in the game in terms of its aesthetics. The first 80% of the level is underwater and has one of the best colour palettes and designs. But this is nothing compared to the very end of the level when Mario finds the star, in this serene and beautiful field overlooking a meadow with the sun high in the sky. It feels somewhat out of place for this game, yet it still gives me goosebumps every time I play this level just because of how amazing it looks. So much so that every now and again I go back to play this level regardless of the fact that I've already done it, it's just that pretty. Another big part of the level design in this game is reusing stages, but in a good way, really, I promise. There are two specific maps in this game that people who have played some other 3D Mario games love. The Throwback Galaxy and the Twisty Trials Galaxy. The first one, the Throwback Galaxy, is, well, a throwback to Super Mario 64 with a level that is pretty much a one-to-one recreation of the original Womp Fortress from that game. And the Twisty Trial Galaxy, that's just a recreation of the Super Mario Sunshine areas in which Mario did not have his water jetpack. Personally, I'd consider these areas to be fan service in the best kind. Nintendo are playing off people's nostalgia, which is why these levels are so memorable for some people, and frankly, it works. With level design out of the way, let's move on to the next section of the gameplay part, the controls. I was going to try my hardest to keep this review as positive as possible, but if I talk about gameplay, I have to mention controls, which is going to go into the rant territory. So, to begin with, let's talk about the good aspect of controls. For starters, the long jump, the spin jump, the backwards jump, and the wall climbing all feel really good and are super helpful when playing almost any level. The long jump itself has to be my most used jump in this entire game because of how useful and valuable the jump is. The jump can be used in almost any situation, and that's why it works so well. If there is a section where Mario needs to just run, or a section where he needs to escape somewhere quickly, you better believe I'll be spamming the Z and A button to make Mario go quickly. Moving on to spin jumps, this is probably the second most used way of moving around in this game, probably for everyone as well because of how versatile it is. If we go back to the Flipsville example I showed off earlier, the reason the skip works so well is entirely because of the spin jump. The spin mechanic just adds so much to the game, and it completely sets it apart from all of the different Mario games as a result. The movement in this game also just feels really fluid for the most part. When you need Mario to turn left, well, he does that. And when you need him to turn right, oddly enough, he can do that as well. But like I said, this section's going to turn into a rant section. And that's starting now. Motion controls are the worst gameplay mechanic to ever exist in platformer games. Maybe there are some platformer games that work because of motion controls, but this is not one of them. Sometimes the spin just doesn't connect, or you get a janky mess of levels that are motion controls only, just like the Fluzzard levels or the surfing levels in Mario Galaxy 1. The Wii controllers just aren't designed for this. They don't pick up enough of the discrete movements, but you also can't go too fast because otherwise the controls are flat out unresponsive, making these levels a mess and honestly unfun to play. It's not even just these levels though, because there are another set of motion control levels that are just the worst thing in the world. Rolling Coaster Galaxy may be my least favourite galaxy in the entire game. This is a hellish nightmare of bad controls mixed with poor level design and unfun sections. This is where difficulty turns into frustration, and not the good kind. Not the kind that makes you want to keep playing just to beat the level, it's the kind that makes you want to turn off the console instead. When finishing these really difficult levels, I never think, damn, that was a really challenging level and I'm proud that I beat it. It's more of, Jesus fucking Christ, thank fuck I beat it and now I can finally move on. And that's something you never want the player to think in these kind of games. I just want to move on. I don't think this kind of level would even be that bad, but the 2 green stars in this level put me over the edge, so I try to beat them as quick as possible, so I never have to do them again. Especially the second one. Having to go through this nightmare every single time just to have an attempt at getting this insanely difficult star and being put back to the beginning every time the player fails is the least fun I've ever had in this game. And frankly, it's more down to the controls rather than the level design, because the level design wouldn't even be that bad if the way you rotated the ball would be the joystick on the Wii nunchuck. Like seriously, it's almost as if it was designed for 3D movement, yet it's not used in the levels where 3D movement is the most critical. It doesn't make any sense and it annoys the shit out of me. Not to mention that the music here only drives up the player's insanity. I've been playing it as the background music for the past section, but let me give you a proper listen now. That's on constant blast. It's just there to tilt the player. To finish off this rant section, I'm going to talk about a very similar galaxy, the Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy. It's the same gameplay mechanic, only difference is the fact that the level isn't anywhere near as bad as Rolling Coaster Galaxy. This is because the levels are better designed, which gives the player much more freedom, and as a result, the controls feel less like Operation while someone is fucking tasering you. If the Rolling Coaster Galaxy was less about super tight movement and more about keeping the player in more open areas, I feel like it would have been so much better and more enjoyable as a level. With that done, let's talk about... Whoa, cut the music. Who the hell's writing this script? This was supposed to be a review of me saying how amazing this game is. I can't rant about the game for 15 minutes straight and then call it a masterpiece. I'll be honest, I originally planned this to be 100% positive the entire time, but that's just not possible because this game has glaring issues. And to make this a proper, somewhat credible review, I do have to talk about the negatives properly, because they are so important as showing how good this game is and how it is one of the best platformer games in spite of these errors. One of my biggest gripes with this game is the fact that the difficulty rating changes so drastically from one level to another, especially if you try to complete a galaxy fully before moving on. The Flip Swap Galaxy in World 1 is a perfect example of this. The level itself is fairly easy, something expected for the first world in the game, and I would consider the first level in this galaxy, Think Before You Shake, one of the easiest levels in the entire world. But the second star, the Comet Star, is easily one of the hardest prankster comets in the game. In this level, you need to collect purple coins. Surprise, surprise, purple coins are the hardest levels in this game. There'll be a section about that later, don't worry. Within a time limit. 3 minutes to collect all the purple coins. There is so much to think about in this level that I can easily sink 10 to 20 lives on this level alone, and this is one of the first galaxies in the game. It doesn't make sense to be going from something like this to this. It's frankly bewildering why the difficulty spikes here when it should be progressively consistent throughout the game. And once you're done with this level, the player moves back onto the levels that are just so painfully easy that they're just frankly a waste of time for the player. Like I said, this game should have a difficulty curve going up progressively throughout the entire game, but that's not the case. I created this graph for this video in which I went through every single different world and thought about every galaxy and then ranked them on their average difficulty between level. So the green stars as well as the normal stars. As you can see, it's just all over the place. Some levels are brutally hard and some are super easy. The reason games do this difficulty curve of gradually getting harder is so that the player never gets bored while playing the game. You can't give a player an extremely hard section and then move them onto many different extremely easy sections and then maybe put them back onto a ridiculously hard section, because the player just won't enjoy that for the most part. A game has to have a clear identity of either an easy game, a somewhat challenging game, or a game that gets progressively harder, otherwise the replayability is almost completely lost.
But now Mario Galaxy 2 is like this, yet you played it a ton, so you've even said on Twitter it's one of the most replayable games ever made. What's the difference here?
I was getting to that, you impatient little shit. In Mario Galaxy 2, it's replayable in spite of this issue. So why? Well, it's down to the fact that the majority of these levels are just fun. But also, this game is a really good game for a completionist, or someone who wants to start 100%ing games in general. It's not extremely hard to do this, nor is it really time consuming, and because of that, the replayability is just as good, if not better, than most single player releases in the past 5 years. And this is why this weird difficulty curve is only a slip up, and not a fundamental flaw of the game that actively hinders it. Not to mention, this weird difficulty curve is only for people who try to complete the game 100%, so more casual players can actually just skip over most of these incredibly hard levels if they wish. Also, in this game you only actually need 70 stars to beat the game or the storyline, meaning that the more casual players will get a very casual experience as they can just pick and choose whatever they want to do, only needing to get a quarter of the stars. So that's pretty much my rant about difficulty over, but I do sadly have one last rant left in me. So I'm talking about something from the depths of hell, something evil, a mechanic that has been mentioned in this video already, one that makes people want to collect 100 coin stars from Super Mario 64 and Sunshine. Purple coins. Mario Galaxy 2 is my second favourite game of all time, so when I tell you this is literally my least favourite thing in the game and that I hate it more than most things in video games I dislike, then you know something is up. The purple coin missions are pretty much the reason why this game is not my favourite game of all time. I fucking hate these. What don't I like about them? Pretty much everything. So let's get started with this final section. I'm going to start with the positives, and there's only actually one. The Tool Trunk Purple Coins level is the only level that I would actually consider fun, but that's less about the purple coins and more about the fact that the level itself is just genuinely really fun. However, I cannot deny that hearing that coin collecting sound does feel really good in this level compared to literally every other purple coin level. I think the best way of talking about these levels would be for me to go through every single level and talk about them individually so it's somewhat structured and I don't get on a tangent or something. The first purple coin mission in the game, Purple Coin Flip and Sprint in the Flip Swap Galaxy in World 1, is a level I've already spoken about in this video, but just to reiterate, there is so much to concentrate on that it's just actually frustrating to play. But I'm not going to say anything else about this because I've already talked about this in this level. I give it a 4 out of 10. Purple Coin Shadow Vault in the Puzzle Plant Galaxy in World 2 is probably one of the easiest purple coin missions in the game, just because of how linear it is. But that's actually the reason why I dislike it a lot. It's just linear. And it's more of just a mini game than an actual level. This almost exact level setup has been used in other levels in the game as a way of just gathering coins. Just to gather them, that's it. This is probably one of the laziest levels in the game, and as a result, I give this a 1 out of 10. I won't talk about it again, but the Tool Trunks Purple Coin Slide in World 3 is easily the best coin level in the game, and honestly, it's probably one of the best levels in the game. Got a new Nintendo. You made purple coins fun for at least one level. I give it a 10 out of 10. Purple Coin Speedrun in the Flipsville Galaxy in World 4 is another one of my least favourite levels in the game. The changing gravity mechanic is great in most levels, and so is the digging mechanic. It is not in this level. The somewhat janky controls mixed with the janky gravity changing makes this level super unfun, and especially because of that tight timer of 2.5 minutes. This has always been one of the levels I do very last in the game just because of how much I really dislike this level. If you miss even one coin that's in a bad spot for you to retrace, it's back to the very beginning because it's unlikely the player will even get the coin before the timer runs out. The only good thing I can say about this level is the fact that the timer stops when you collect all the coins, so at least it's not a race to the star as well. 1 out of 10. Bulbaberry's purple coin glow in the Sweet Mystery Galaxy in World 4 is annoying, but at least it's not frustratingly hard. This is another level where you have to collect every single coin, but at least it has some amazing visuals backing it up. The spacing of every coin in this level is just super frustrating because of the fact that it requires the player to run in circles, and as the controls are not good enough to pick up discrete movements, it's just frustrating to play. If the level was much harder than this, then it would have been a much lower rating, but the fact that it's relatively easy with the stunning scenery makes it so I give this level a 5 out of 10. Purple Coin Beach Dash in World 4 is boring. This is another level that is just really easy and is probably the shortest non-green star in the game, as it only takes about 20 seconds to get to the very end of the level. What I dislike about this level once again is the fact that it requires precise movement, which is the Wii controllers just don't do well. To go on a quick tangent, just in case people say, well that's not the purple coin's fault, it's the controls fault. No, it is the purple coin level's fault. Nintendo are most likely fully aware of the fact that the controls don't work with precise movements, and yet they still made these kind of design choices for the purple coin missions. It's ridiculous. 3 out of 10. The Adventures of the Purple Coins in World 5 is a slow-paced, tedious purple coin level that Nintendo slapped a 5-minute timer on just so it made the player go quicker. This level takes so much time to beat, but also takes so much precise movement that even one slip up means the player is going back to the beginning of the stage just to do it all over. If they just made it so that there were fewer purple coins in this level, like 50, or just made purple coins in a different section, then it would have been so much better. Fuck this level, 2 out of 10. The penultimate purple coin mission, Luigi's Purple Coin Chaos, is another purple coin mission that I actually like. This is in World S, so it is a much harder purple coin mission, but frankly, it's fun because of its difficulty. Overall, I actually really like this level and think it's really fun. I actually give this one a 7 out of 10. Purple Coins on Rainbow Road is the final purple coin level in the game. And of course, we're back to the Roller Coaster Galaxy. Surprisingly enough, I don't like this level very much. It's another level that requires super precise platforming in a really short amount of time, and you better not miss more than 10 coins, otherwise it's back to the beginning. The motion controls are really what make me hate this level, like I said before, but the fun factor of this level definitely isn't being fucking elevated by the fact that there's purple coins. If I could skip this level and still 100% the game, I would. Fuck you Nintendo out of 10. And well, that's all of the purple coin missions in this game, and well, they're arse. They're not all terrible thankfully, but if I could skip 90% of them, I would. They are just not worth playing unless you are trying to 100% this game, and thankfully, that is why I still love this game regardless. Not to mention that the bad purple coin levels are severely outweighted by the good levels in this game. Overall, Mario Galaxy 2 is a great game that has its limitations, but these will never outweigh all of the great and fun aspects of this game. Even if your opinion of this game is that it's not a strong Mario game, you cannot ignore the importance it has had on the future of Mario games. Even if it's only just slightly influenced games like Mario Maker 2 with the addition of the Gusty Garden theme, or the fact that night levels in that game look so starry. Let's also mention the fact that this game and Mario Galaxy 1 paved the way to Mario Odyssey, one of the highest rated Mario games of all time, with many people thinking it's the best 3D Mario game of all time. This game will always have a soft spot in my heart, not just because of the game, but because this game got me into YouTube. Back in 2010, I started watching a YouTube series of Mario Galaxy 2 from a man called Nintendo Capri Sun. If it wasn't for this game or him, I don't know if I ever would have gone into YouTube. So thanks to him for doing that Let's Play. Also, he let me find a ton of other channels like Chugga Conroy, which are just incredible. This is a very personal side of the game for me, but I love it so much more because of it. Mario Galaxy 2, I give you a 10 out of 10. Hey everyone, if you stuck around to the end, thanks very much. This is the first time I've made a video like this, so I hope you all enjoyed it. I wanted to keep this channel to a stream highlights channel, but I think I'm not going to do that anymore and move on to this kind of thing instead, as honestly, it's just way more fun. I haven't started anything just yet, but I have another one of these videos as an idea already, and I'm looking to do that very soon. I just want to give myself a break for a few days and at least maybe a week. So if you want to see that kind of thing, please let me know in the comments down below. I really am probably going to do it anyway because making this kind of video is just so much fun. So if you like this video, well, give it a like and a subscribe really help. I also do streaming every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so make sure to watch those. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter because I will always give updates about these videos on there, twitter.com/SamCYNT. Anyway, till next time, peace out everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Oh, I fucking hate this level. This level's such ass. You may all think this is a fucking meme. I fucking hate this level.